it is time for the Butt Groove Guide. Now, if you were just joining us and wondering why there is a lady sitting in her house telling you about your Butt Groove Guide, well, here is the reason why. So we go through each week and tell you which games in Texas high school football and college football that you absolutely cannot miss. Called the Butt Groove Guide because when you're sitting on your couch, you want a nice butt groove. And you should be sitting there all weekend because we are jam-packed with a lot of good games. Again, week 7 heading in to the Texas high school football season and week 6 heading into the college football season as well there. And of course, we will take a look at some of the top games that we have on Dave Campbell's Texan Live and those college football games a little later on. So, Thursday, for your Butt Groove Guide, tonight, here's what you want to do. We're going to start at 6 o'clock. There's a couple of different games that you can go ahead and put on before that 7 o'clock hit rolls around. Usually there's probably only one games, but we're going to get started really early tonight. So at 6 o'clock on Texan Live, Katie Taylor and Katie Tompkins. So go ahead, and if you're getting home from work and you're ready to go ahead and get the football weekend started at 6, you can go ahead and turn that one on. Then at 6:30, 2 pairs of games. And let me go back for a second. We are working off the assumption that you have 3 screens in your household. So we're going to say main TV, laptop, phone. If you have more than that, become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber at texasfootball.com. If not, we're going to work off the assumption that we're doing 3 screens here. So up first, if you're looking to get in early on the Texas high school football weekend, Katie Taylor, Katie Tompkins. Put that on at 6. 6:30 comes, you can go ahead and fill up those other 2 screens because Cy Woods and Langham Creek are playing, and Cy Ridge and Cy Creek both start at 6:30. So you can have 3 games going before the 7 o'clock hour ever even gets started. So big time there. And then whenever you are done, also want to mention too, if you're more interested in watching college games, well, you're in luck too. Houston taking on the Green Wave of Tulane tonight, 6:30, that one on ESPN. So Houston's going from a Friday game last week to a 6:30 game this week. Craven and I talk a little bit about that in Burning Questions coming up in the back half of the show. But there is that college football on, so if you're looking to watch that, there you go. Houston playing at Tulane. And then after that, once we get to the 7 o'clock hour, whichever game is out of hand, remember you're going off of 3 screens here, so whichever one gets out of hand, go ahead and switch over to Tomball and Klein Collins. This one a real interesting matchup, and our Jay Dunson will be on the call there, and you can kind of ride that one out. We got a couple more games tonight at the 7 o'clock hour, but that one's probably the most interesting one that we have. So if any of those other games get out of hand, well, you have plenty of other options to go to tonight. Big slate of Thursday games down in the Houston area. Moving on, Friday for your Butt Groove Guide. This is where the meat and potatoes are. A ton of Texas high school football games on TexanLive.com. And we're going to start off with probably one of the most off-the-wall big games of the night. And when I say this, you might be wondering why this is such a big game, but at 6 o'clock, a huge game between Katy Seven Lakes and Katy Morton Ranch. The reason that this is such a big game is this will likely decide where Katy High School, Gary Joseph and his Tigers, end up in the playoffs, whether it'll be in Division I or Division II. So if you want to see Katy go D1, then you're going to be rooting for that Morton Ranch win tonight. And that's one of those things. This is intriguing to a lot of different people, specifically like Westlake fans, because they are definitely hoping that Katy goes up D1 and that they can go down D2. So a lot riding on that 6 o'clock game tonight. That's one I would probably try and keep on the whole way through unless it gets absolutely out of hands. But you're going to want to know where that works if you're interested in kind of the moving puzzle pieces as to where Katy ends up D1 or D2. Then we head over to the 7 o'clock hour, and a big game here, Atascocita and Summer Creek. Summer Creek is really looking like they're probably going to be able to weasel their way into that 4th team in 21-6A. They lost to C.E. King last week, but they still have Atascocita and North Shore up on the schedule, and obviously Atascocita tomorrow night, and that's one of those things. They're definitely underdogs in this game, but if they could pull an upset over either one of those teams, they can absolutely guarantee themselves a spot in the playoffs. Likely they'll end up in the 4th seed anyway, but you never know. Maybe in the first half they kind of get something going there. Another one to watch out for, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Big game in Southeast Texas. We're going to go over to Huffman-Hargrave and Little Cypress. We're going to start that over. Huffman-Hargrave and Little Cypress, Mauriceville, 10-4 D1, and it's a really tight race in that district. We've got Hargrave is undefeated on the season, and then LCM, Livingston, and Splendora are all 4-1 heading into district play. So there's a lot of movement up there at the top of that district, and so those are probably the 4 teams that are going to end up making it into the playoffs, but these specific district rivalry games are going to really decide on the seeding there. So big game right there to kind of most likely really decide if Hargrave is going to be in the driver's seat heading into the rest of district play. And then if Seven Lakes Morton Ranch gets out of hand and you're looking for another 7 o'clock game to switch on to one of those third screens, interested in Cy-Fair and Jersey Village here, it'll be Coach Eric Folkerts on the call for Texan Live. And this one in our computer system is it's a pick'em game, so expecting it to be pretty close. Jersey Village undefeated at 5-0, and that young defense has been playing really well for them. So it could have a pretty big impact there on the District 17 6A scope of things. So it's interesting. We're really starting to get into that level of a lot of off-the-wall games that aren't necessarily the big-time, big names. Like what Katy does this weekend is probably going to pummel in on another team, but you get those Katy, Morton Ranch, and Seven Lakes games, and you're thinking, okay, now we have some of those 3rd and 4th seeded teams really making some impact on the scope of Texas high school football as a whole. So there is your Butt Groove guide for Friday night. Still a ton of other games on TexanLive.com you can check out, but if you're going to 3-screen it here, that would probably be the path that I would suggest. On to Saturday, we've got 11 a.m., the Red River rivalry. I think just about anyone in the state of Texas, whether you are a fan of Texas or OU or anyone, or not a fan of either of them, everyone always puts this on one of the 3 screens. So that one should be super interesting. Oklahoma coming in as the number 6 team in the nation, and Texas coming in as number 21. So it'll be quite interesting to see, what happens there. Bijan's going to need the game of his life. We talk about that more later on in the Burning Questions segment. But, of course, ABC, all eyes are going to be on that. If you're at the State Fair, have a fun time this weekend. If you want to go ahead and 2-screen it for 11 a.m. and really get the football weekend kicked off early, we do have on FS1 West by God, Virginia is visiting Baylor down at McLean. So all eyes probably going to be on the Red River rivalry. But again, if you've got 3 screens and you want something on, there you go. Moving on at 2:30, if you're looking for a little matinee action, we've got number 24 SMU heading up to the Agua Troops to take on Navy. We've been talking all year about how butt Navy is, but they're kind of coming back a little bit, so I'll be real interested to see. That's a real early time slot to be heading over there to the East Coast, and it'll be interesting to see how Sonny Dykes and his squad handles the triple option. And then this is where it comes in. We're calling ISO. Do not have another game on. Turn off all the rest of your screens. There is one game that matters, and it starts at 3 o'clock. It is the Tft Bowl as the North Texas Mean Green travel up to Columbia, Missouri to take on Greg Tepper's Mizzou Tigers. Like I said, all of their screens off. Game of the week easily. No, okay, this is big for us. I think we have decided I'll text him after the show today to make sure, and we'll put it on Twitter just so everyone knows. But I think what we decided is we're going to take a bet on the spread. We're not going to bet outright because this is a terrible North Texas team taking on an SEC team regardless. So we're probably going to take a bet on the spread, and I believe that the loser has to wear formal apparel sometime next week on the show. So for me, that would be a prom dress ball gown thing, and for Tepper, that's going to be a suit. So everyone, get your talons up. Everyone wants to watch the Mean Green beat Mizzou, so 3 o'clock there. And then heading on into the night slate, here's where things get really, really fun. You start off your day super big with the Red River rivalry, and you can end it on a good note as UTSA, the 5-0 Roadrunners, go and take on Western Kentucky. And you can watch this one on Stadium. This is huge, guys. I mean, this is the first Conference USA matchup for UTSA. Western Kentucky with Bailey Zappi. If you remember, they kind of picked up Houston Baptist and moved it to the Hilltop over there. So a night game at the Hilltop in Conference USA speak is always really big. This will be super, super exciting. Clear the deck for that one. If you do want another night game to watch in the college realm, TCU and Tech happening there in Lubbock on ESPN. And then we do have 3 games on Texan Live at 6 o'clock, Cy Park, Cy Falls, 7 o'clock, Westbrook and Humble, and 7 o'clock again, Cy Ranch and Bridgeland. So if you've got 3 screens, throw on a high school football game on TexanLive.com. If you would rather watch college, well, we've got that option for you too. But make sure to tune into that UTSA Western Kentucky game if you get the chance. We are very, very excited to see that. So there you go. Your Week 7 Butt Groove Guide. Again, you can see games all weekend long, every weekend of the Texas high school football season on TexanLive.com.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip here on YouTube. If you like this kind of stuff and you want more of it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, you can watch us live every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, or here on YouTube. And if you want more of the best coverage of football in the state of Texas, check out TexasFootball.com and become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe.